What's going on, people? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester, and we have some interesting topics for you lot today. Jadon Sancho reached the Champions League final last night, but where did it all go wrong for him at Manchester United? The Telegraph and the Mail have both confirmed some form of leaks inside Carrington training ground centre. Masonj Greenwood set to go to Italy or Spain, confirmed, and apparently that's an Ineos priority as well. Plus, much more live as we speak, as we get into it, which is the best part about it when you're live. Any form of news can come in towards the end, so I'm going to stick around for that. I'm live on TikTok, I'm live on YouTube, so make sure you get your questions in, make sure you get your comments in, smash that like on the video, smash that like on the TikTok stream, and also as well, hit that subscribe button, because we're only 22 currently off 5,000 subscribers. So if there isn't anyone currently subscribed, that would be absolutely amazing. But if not, we're going to dive into the Jadon Sancho situation anyway. And I'm just going to switch screens very quickly for that. There we go. So there's a couple of questions I'm kind of posing. We'll kind of discuss Jadon Sancho in general anyway for Dortmund. Obviously reached the final last night. Amazing achievement. You know, not by any stretch of the imagination. Most people thought they wouldn't get out of the group stages. You know, when you look at the group, they had Newcastle, AC Milan, and PSG in there as well. I doubt there would have been many people who were saying that, you know, Dortmund are going to reach the final, but they've done it, which is, oh, my audio's gone. Has it? 1 2 1 2 1 2. Fuck's sake, 1 second. Is that any better? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry about that. I'll go briefly back through it. I was just talking about Sancho, basically Champions League final, Borrusia Dortmund. United are set, obviously, to benefit from this financially, especially if they win it as well. I'm pretty sure there's a bonus clause in there or something like that. But yeah, just in general, I think, you know, you look at him going over there, everything that happened with Erik ten Hag, we don't need to cover all ground, the whole social media incidents and back and forth, and some people were backing him, some people were saying, you know, he deserves time and patience. I'm not completely sold on that, because you look at some of his stats. I mean, let me just pull them up now. So under Rangnick and under Ole, he played 29, started 20, and got 6 goals and assists combined, right? Under Erik ten Hag, played 26, started 21, got 9 goals and assist. So it's not as if he hasn't been given an opportunity. Now, granted, people will say, you know, it's the style, it's the coaches that he's been under. It doesn't work the best for him. And I think there is some substance to that. And again, I'll get into that as well. But the main question I have as a Man United fan at the minute is, why does he not perform? Why are we not seeing this Jadon Sancho that we've seen at Dortmund and Manchester United? Because it's a stark contrast between both, you know, the level that he's playing at both teams. You think of the style of play, confidence, environment, pressure, psychologically, I think them 4 or 5 things are what kind of play a huge part with Jadon. I don't think the Premier League suits him necessarily. I don't think our style suits it. Our style is very chaotic at the minute, especially under Erik ten Hag, and then obviously under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you had a counter-attacking system where it was very deep, compact, and it was quick movement. Bruno gets it in behind. Jadon Sancho isn't one of them players where you can just, you know, get in behind. He's one of those who needs it to feet. Combinations, you need the wing-back making that overlapping run, sometimes some underlapping ones to leave a gap there, exposing 1v1, and I just think... I don't know. I just think the pressure at United as well is another thing. Like, the expectation is 70-odd million quid, whereas when he goes back to Dortmund, it's not like they already know what kind of player he is. They know what they're going to get with him. So, that's an interesting thing to discuss. Also, will his performances in the Champions League drive his price up for the summer? Well, we know that Simon Stone put a tweet out saying that United will receive a €4 million bonus in payments for him alone just reaching the Champions League final because of appearances and stuff like that. Sancho's featured in a majority of games since his Dortmund move. That means United will be expecting the maximum sum agreed between the two clubs. And is there a world where Jadon Sancho stays at Man United if Erik ten Hag leaves? It all depends on what kind of coach comes in as well. What are people saying in the chat? More to the point. Let's get a general consensus to this, because I don't just want to fire my opinion directly down the camera. I want to get everybody else's opinion on this situation and see what they do. Gary saying not at a United level. Dean saying profit, losing out about 40 million quid on him. Yeah, so obviously we bought him for 72. I'm going to get into the price tag as well, what we believe he's worth. But from the majority of people that I've spoken to, United fans that I've seen online, in person, at Old Trafford, the majority just would be happy to sell him to Dortmund and let him go. Stuart Buck saying sell Sancho and Greenwood. I'm going to discuss Greenwood in a minute as well. Dan Errington saying the fullback behind him wasn't good enough. Also, pressure different Dortmund as it is to United, and I don't think he's quick enough for a winger. Now, the analogy I always use is in MMA, for example, right? UFC, mixed martial arts. The fundamental tool that you need as a fighter is wrestling. That's your ground game. That's where the biggest strengths are. And I also believe the fundamental strength as a winger is your pace. If you don't have pace, you have to have superior technical ability and football intelligence to kind of get you through it. Because if you ain't beating a man with 1v1, you need pieces around you moving, beating them, and you need that intelligence to the combination to throw a defender off and then get in behind, which I believe you can do. But again, when you have Aaron Wan-Bissaka behind you, it's slightly different, innit? And also, there was talks about Sancho preferring it on the left-hand side, and we needed a right-handed winger for ages. We brought him in, and it's like, no, I prefer playing on the left. Well, we've got Marcus Rashford on the left, who managers just don't like drop him, and I get it sometimes. But equally, in fairness to Jadon, he has deserved more opportunities, I think, this season, let's say, for example, because he was starting Anthony, and the majority of people who have watched Anthony have said he needs to be dropped. And then he's playing Forsen, and he's not playing Ahmad, and he's not playing these technical players. So there is a consistent pattern there, I would probably say. But maybe he will come back. I think he'll go to Dortmund if Dortmund offer the right money. If they're starting to offer loans again and obligations and all this kind of nonsense, then it's just a hard no from me. But yeah, what do we think as a fan base? Jadon Sancho, stay or go? Have you been impressed with him in the Champions League? What have you made of his performances? Can he still make it at Manchester United, or has that boat been shipped now? Has it gone? Let me know. We aren't profiting from Sancho. We'll get max 50 million quid. I don't even think we'll get 50 million, to be honest with you. I really, really don't. Let me switch back to the screen. So that kind of leads into with Erik ten Hag and everything that's ongoing at Carrington and at Old Trafford and United at the moment. So Chris Wheeler and James Ducker from the Telegraph, who I think both are in the press conferences asking questions and stuff. So they've got relatively good ties into United, I would suggest. So Chris Wheeler put out last night, the players think that Erik ten Hag will be sacked at the end of the season. This is understood to be affecting their response to his instructions in matches and training. Face-to-face conversations between the United squad and Sir Dave Brailsford have centred on changing the club's culture, leading players to assume Erik ten Hag as no longer figures into Jim Ratcliffe's plans. So there's a belief amongst players at the minute currently around the training ground that ten Hag ain't going to be the guy. And that would kind of, I mean, it's kind of an easy suggestion to say that's why we're not fucking performing and that's why we're not playing. It's irrelevant whether a new manager's coming in or not. And I'm pretty sure Ineos would kind of advise him on this and say, it doesn't matter what new manager, even if we was looking at it, your performance level shouldn't drop. Just be fucking professional. I don't know, I can't, how many times in the last 4, 5, 6 years where I've seen this fucking nonsense towards the end of the season when players just turn it off and they can't be arsed and they turn around and they say like, oh, well, the manager's going to be going, we're expecting another one. Players are playing for the contracts and they're not sure, they're not signing a new contract yet because they're not sure what new manager's going to come in. It's always like the players first. It's nonsense to me, absolute nonsense. Just play until the end of the season. You can sort your shit out in the summer. Whatever's on the horizon, if a new manager comes in or if, new structure, new people, which is going to happen anyway, just get on with the fucking games and try and get yourself back into the Champions League. Because let's face it, they're going to get a bonus. Well, we're not making it into Champions League now anyway, but they're going to get a bonus. They're going to reap the financial rewards from it, aren't they, if they get into Europe. And obviously it's just better for them anyway. But they just can't seem to be arsed. They're just like, no, we're done with the season, washing our hands. The performance against Palace was the one where you're like, when we've lost previous games, like, well, you can tell the players are still fighting and they're still there. But the one against Palace, that was the one which everyone's referencing, all these Aston Villa Mourinho against Liverpool, Van Gaal, obviously we won the FA Cup final, so he didn't down tools in that performance, but it was the one where you watch it and you're just like, yeah, I think we're done. I think that these players are done with this team. Sancho and Elise on both wings with possession-based manager would be saucy. I don't disagree. 3 goal involvements all season, bang average player with a big ego. Again, I don't disagree with that either. I think there are 2 sides to that coin. I'm slightly pissed off with the way it's going at United at the moment, and how can you not be with all the leaks and all the shit that's coming out and players briefing certain journalists, all the favourite journalists, and putting stuff out, even like on some of the biggest platforms. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with how many games we've got left. 4 or 5 games. I think we could potentially lose to, well, not potentially. I think we'll definitely lose to Arsenal. I think we'll lose to Newcastle. I think Brighton's the only one where maybe we could scrape a draw. But if you're putting in performances like we did against Crystal Palace, you've got fucking no chance. No chance. Shreya saying, don't see a world where Ten Hag continues next season. Me neither, mate. Me neither. I really, really don't. I think it's whatever angle you look at it from. I'd love to have patience, and I'd love to say, like, at least give him 6 months under this new umbrella. But the thing is, whatever someone does last leaves that vision in your head, doesn't it? So how this season's going to end now, oh shit, how this season's going to end now, heading into the summer, is what everyone's going to remember then for, like, it's going to stay in your head then for 8 weeks, innit? Do you know what I mean? So if we end this season and lose the rest of the games or pick up 1 point and finish 10th, there is no way Ineos can stick with him. No way. Now, for them, they're probably looking at it as like, we're restructuring. We're trying to bring Dan Ashworth in. We brought Wilcox in and we brought Barada in. And then we've got the whole fucking transfer market to worry about. All the players that are going to go, all the players that we've got to bring in. Then on top of that, you want to bring in a new manager. So it's almost too much change at that point. And I know it's easy for us to sit here and go, you know what, get rid of all the players, get rid of the manager, reset and start again. You have to keep some of the players. Financially, they may have to keep holding the manager. There's 2 sides to it. It's not FIFA. You can't just get rid of everyone and start again. Some players who people don't like, people watching right now, players who you don't like will probably stay at the club. A manager could potentially, whether that's the right decision or not, I don't know. Based on the recent performances, I mean, my head was pretty much gone from the Fulham game, I think it was, and I was just like, I was done for the rest of the season then, because I just thought straight away, like, Champions League's done it. Sack Erik Ten Hag, get Sir Alex or Ollie to replace. No, not a chance. If Sir Alex wants to do it for the FA Cup final, I won't be opposed to it, I suppose, but he would never do that. I don't think. If they keep him, they're just prolonging the inevitable. He wouldn't last all of next season. Do you want Elise? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Elise, but I don't think it's a priority position. Charlie Malman says, if we lose 2 games, we'll take our lowest points total ever. Well, I don't think we could achieve the one under Moyes, can we? Which was it like 60 points or something? I don't think we can get that now. Or, well, with the game, I don't know. I'll have to double check that, because I'm thinking, well, we could, because if we beat Arsenal, Newcastle, and Brighton, that's 9 points. I think we're currently on 52 points, is it? I don't know. I'll double check that anyway. But yeah, I agree. I agree with a lot of you in the chat. You're right. It's difficult to see a way forward for him at the moment, and it's hard because you do like him. We had Jadon from Stretford Paddock last night, and we was discussing our kind of favourite moments under Ten Hag. And I was discussing the Carabao Cup final, Carabao Cup that we won against Newcastle. And after the game, where you see Anthony and Sancho dancing on the pitch, his signings, who have had relatively good seasons, Sancho more so than Anthony. You see, Rashford in the form of his fucking life, bagging goals left, right, centre. All the players happy, finishing 3rd, which is overachieving in my opinion. We had Wout Weghorst up top, and we brought in Sabitzer in January. And you sat there and you're going, do you know what? Finally, after all this time and all these years of just managers, struggling and failing and thinking, this will be the next one, this will be the next guy, this will be the right one. And then, fast forward a year and we're in a worse position than we was under Rangnick. I don't think anyone would have been able to picture what's happened in the past 12 months, genuinely. Like I said, I know we overachieved last season, and I know we was kind of looking at it, and some of the results against City and Liverpool and others, and his away record was pretty bad. But league position will tell you third, exact same season as what Liverpool are having now, and they in my opinion have got a far better squad than what we had last season. So yeah, overachieved massively. I finished third, won a cup, and then you fast forward and could potentially finish 8th or 9th. Without anything at all. I mean, because people are looking forward to the FA Cup final. I don't blame them, United fans. It's like, you know, we can win any game. It's a final. I don't have that sentiment. I've watched the game last season. I've watched City this season. I've watched us. There is no chance we win that. No chance. I don't even give us a 1% chance that we win it. We're shit. We are shit. Goat says Casemiro was horrible at centre-back. He's too slow. He's worse in midfield, though. At least at centre-back, he's got fucking everything's in front of him. In midfield, it's left, right, centre, in behind. Like, he looks lost. He looks absolutely lost. I think Casemiro was missing Fred's energy, to be honest, in the midfield. And I thought I'd never say that because Fred would give you a fantastic 45 minutes and then the worst 45 minutes of your life. So I think he's missing that energy alongside him. And Kobe isn't really that kind of player. He's more of a technical player. And that's not you know, slander on him. Yeah. Marky Mark says, let's face it, Man United is shit. Yeah, that's the reality check, mate. Moyes got 64 points, so he was not the worst. Ole Gunnar Ragnick, that was, 58-point season, sorry. My apologies. But we could still, you know, we could still get worse than that, can't we? Let me check our league position. I always pick, like, the table when I'm live. I just like having a look at it. So, we're on 54 points. We've got 3 games left. Arsenal will beat us, Newcastle beat us. We might get a draw. And if we win against Brighton, that'd be 57 points. So we probably finish with the worst points total ever. That's why I'm saying I find it hard for Eric Ten Hag to continue after that. I know these injuries, I know these other exterior factors, but you can't finish with the worst points total ever in 8th or 9th position without a trophy and continue as United manager, no matter what. You're talking about standards here, you know what I mean? Standards are on the fucking floor. You know, we're miles behind Aston Villa. We're miles behind Spurs. You know, we're not even chasing Spurs. That's how embarrassing it is this season. So, yeah. It's going to take time at United. Really need to be careful with who comes in as the manager. Grace saying, even if we sell Sancho for 50 million, which is unlikely, won't have to pay a considerable amount of wages to him to make up for the fact we'll have to take a pay cut to leave. Fred was a genuine workhorse. Charlie saying it's rumoured that Leacher can come back for Arsenal. At the same time, though, I don't want to rush him back. Don't rush him back. You know, the one chance we've got at any kind of glory for a happy ending towards the season is the FA Cup final, which I don't give us a chance in. But if you can get everyone fit and available for that one game, who knows? Maybe. Just maybe. You know, if Shaw's available, if Sancho's available, if Varane's available. I don't know what you do with the midfield, to be honest with you. But if you can get that back line, Onana, Shaw, Lisandro, Varane, and Dalot on the pitch for one game, maybe we'll give ourselves half a chance. Maybe. And you know what? This sounds really sad for a United fan to say because we've got fuck all to play for. We really have. But if we can also ruin Arsenal's party, that would be amazing as well. I know it would probably mean City winning the league, but... And I know they do the 4th in a row, which no one's ever done before. So that is painful. I get that. But Arsenal fans are so fucking cocky and painful. So cocky and painful. Like, I can't be arsed with them winning the league. So if we can spoil the party at Old Trafford, that'd be one thing, I suppose, that we can kind of tick off the box. But it's a very small thing in it to kind of be happy about. Arsenal, there's 100%. There's a chance 100%. I don't know. The way Arsenal are playing at the moment, the most informed team in the league. I think we're going to get battered. So if we get 40 million, we'll have to pay him like 15, 20 to him. We just need to take the hit and move on. Any update on Varane? I've not seen anything on Varane for a while. For a good few weeks, I don't think. Yeah, I've not seen anything on hardly any players. What's interesting that's coming in now, Dan Ashworth is edging closer to joining Manchester United. That's coming in from the Telegraph. It's a very good source. That was 20 minutes ago. So, I don't know, maybe we'll get a reaction on that. Thomas Tuchel got asked about a potential return to the Premier League. Says, I'd rather not answer, but it's no secret that I loved it at Chelsea. I loved it in England, and I loved it in the Premier League for sure. He wants that United job. No two ways about it. He wants that United job. Newcastle are advancing in talks to appoint Dougie Freeman as the new director of football. Negotiations ongoing. It's up to Freeman as he's doing an excellent job at Crystal Palace and now the front runner for the role at Newcastle. So that's probably why we're seeing some movement on the Dan Ashworth situation. All right, I want to move on to Masonj Greenwood because that was another topic that was on the table that I wanted to talk about. So, again, coming from the Telegraph, been very busy today. Juventus and Lazio are believed to have registered interest in Masonj Greenwood. Atletico Madrid are also keeping close tabs on him. Even though they have played down their interest, Barcelona would like to take Greenwood but do not have the financial capacity to strike a deal. Also, at least 2 Premier League clubs have inquired about the signing of Masonj Greenwood this summer. And I was reading something on The Athletic last night, I think it was, about Ineos making this a priority, moving Greenwood on. I don't think they want the kind of PR nightmare that comes with it, even though I think it's been a year now. Obviously gone off to Getafe, done relatively well. I think he's got, like, I don't know, 15 goal involvements in like 30 games. So doing well in a pretty shit Getafe team. And there's going to be a lot of people looking at him. Now, clubs are going to be looking at this situation like it's a cheap deal that they can do because of obviously everything surrounding Greenwood and the whole shit that happened there. But I don't think Ineos will take a similar stance. I think they'll still push for 40, 50 million quid if they can. And that's where it makes it interesting because we're quite saturated in the winger position, right? So I know Greenwood could play as a 9, but I know he could play on the right as well. So if you're talking purely wingers, we've got Pellistri, Ahmad, Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, Greenwood, and probably Antony, and probably others that I'm missing as well. So you can afford to lose a couple of wingers there. If you sell Jadon Sancho for, 40 million quid, let's say, you sell Greenwood for 40 million quid. 40 million of that is pure profit because Masonj Greenwood's an academy graduate. And then you move Sancho's wages off the bill as well along with that. So you can, if you sell at the right price, you can afford to box clever in the summer because the price that we're being linked with at the moment is 100 million quid, I think it is, for the total spend. But you sell players on top of that, you know, even if you sell McTominay, 40 million quid, that's pure profit. I don't think they will. I think they'll probably keep him as a squad player. But I'm just saying there are ways around it where you can, you know, kind of FFP, you can not avoid it, but you can, spread out the gap, let's say, in terms of spending. So, yeah, I think selling Masonj Greenwood, I've always been, I know there are people online who are just obsessed with him coming back to the club. And I think it goes past the point of him just be as a player. I think people are just like, there's a weird fucking obsession with him. And maybe it is because we're struggling at the minute. Like, he's a fucking generational talent. Let's face it, everyone was calling him generational talent. Some people want to bring him back and they're happy for him to score goals. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's absolutely fine. But for me personally, sell him, get the 40, 50 million quid if we can at a push, reinvest that money correctly. Please go get a fucking defensive midfielder or a centre back with that money. Don't buy another winger because I don't think we need another winger. If we have time, space, money to go and get Elise, absolutely go buy him. He's a fantastic player. But I think there are other departments in the pitch that need addressing first. Centre back being one of them, centre defensive midfield being one of them, and probably a left back because none of them can stay fit. Do you reckon we'll buy Elise in the summer? It depends what happens with sales. Because if we ain't getting European football, that's another financial hurdle that we've got to kind of leap. I'd like Greenwood back, but I don't get why United will sell him. But you get why United would sell him. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it just makes sense, doesn't it? I think for all parties. When you look and eventually find a City fan, they're just as bad as Arsenal fans, so we need Arsenal to win the league. Yeah, it's like asking, you know, do you want a kick in the bollock or a slap in the face? It's not nice either way, is it, I suppose? Brailsworth has said he's stepping back so they can be true to the Ashworth thing. I believe so, yeah. I hope it is, because we need him before the summer. We need these guys in, these experts. The main issue with United over the past couple of years, or past decade, let's say, has been recruitment. Everybody knows that. So if you can bring these guys in, these experts, Omar's done a fantastic job at City, Ashworth at, you know, any club he's been at, basically. And then we've got Wilcox as well, who's, you know, been instrumental in academy products and other things as well at Man City with players like Foden and Oscar Bob and Cole Palmer and all these guys. So they are experienced, they are detailed, and they know exactly what they are doing. So get them in, before the window starts, and we'll have half a chance at recruiting the right players and starting this, getting the cogs in motion, basically, to I don't know what the target is next 2-3 years. Get back towards the top. I have no idea whatsoever. Yeah. Don't sell Greenwood to a Prem side. He had a field day against United's defenders. McTominay's been one of our best players this year. That's debatable. That's debatable. He scored one of the most goals this year. I would agree with you on that. The best players. Let's put it this way. McTominay in a full team for 90 minutes. Is he starting for any of the clubs in the top 4? No, he's not. He doesn't start for Villa over Douglas Luiz. Definitely not. Or even over John McGinn. He doesn't start over Rice or Odegaard or Partey or Jorginho, for example. He doesn't start over Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden, Bernardo Silva. Not a chance. And then you can start going down. So if they're not starting for them, he's not a caliber player. Why should we have him as a starter? He's not a start off the bench scoring goals for the last 25 minutes. Fucking fantastic. Perfect. Every team needs a player like that. We had it in a striker I think you remember, a Mexican striker in Chicharito. But Chicharito wasn't a starter. You think he's definitely better than McGinn? McTominay? For a full 90 minutes? Nah. Not in my opinion. I disagree. But again, it's football's all about opinion, innit? He scored more than Rasmus. Doesn't make him a great player. He has one trait. He's good at crashing the box. Doesn't make him a great player. Goal scoring's hard, I admit. 100%, but I'm talking about an all-around player, not just goal scoring. 140 to 175 million after selling Greenwood and Sancho, probably. Yeah, but then I'm thinking, how much realistically are we going to spend? Look, Hurst put out a few weeks ago, we want 2 centre-backs. Yeah, so what's that's going to cost? If you box clever, you could probably get Todibo for 40. Branthwaite for, let's say, 50. That's 90 million quid. Then you want to go buy a left back. We're linked with Frimpong as a right back for 35 million quid. You've got to go buy a defensive midfielder. It's probably going to cost you 50, 60 million quid. You've got to go buy another striker. I'm not sure what the expenditure is on that. If maybe they go for a bit more of experience. Seasoned one is a little bit cheaper, 20, 25 million. And then you want to get Elise as well. Where does the budget stretch with that? When it's unrealistic. And I know, in fairness, whenever United have missed Champions League football, they've always overspent to try push back up into that. So it's almost backwards. So when we finish outside the top 4, we'll spend around 180 million quid, usually, with sales included as well. When we don't, and we finish in the top 4, we usually spend around, I think it's 80 to 90 million quid. So maybe we will. Maybe we'll overspend, and maybe Ineos will try and make a statement, but I can't see us going mad. I can't see us doing a Chelsea, basically. We're spending 200 odd million pound on midfielders. Just can't see where it's coming from. He follows Rasmus all the time. He's always running where Rasmus is. He does. He takes his space. I agree. You only had 140 million to spend last season, and you'll get less than that with FFP. That's the concern, isn't it? That's the concern. Yeah, I don't know. They're not going to get all the targets. That's the situation. That's what I'm thinking about. I think we're going to spend max 150 million, maximum. And it all depends on what players we can shift and move on, and how we can kind of operate with the wage bill and stuff. So I suppose we'll have to see what happens. Of course, we've got Champions League football on tonight. I'm not sure if they'll be alive, but if not, I'll drop the tier list, which I was supposed to drop yesterday. I completely forgot, but I'll put the tier list out, which is in reference to everything that we've just been talking about. Players, you've got the red, mango, orange, yellow, green categories for where they should go, if they should be sold, if they should be moved on. So that's dropping. We dropped that for members 2 days ago, and we'll drop that today for the public, basically. So at 7 o'clock, the tier list will go out regardless if we're live or not as well. So please do make sure you check that out. We are currently on, let me double check this, 4,978 subscribers. So we need 22 before we hit 5,000. If there is anyone in the TikTok, anyone in the YouTube, anyone just watching this live or later on, and you haven't subscribed yet, click the link in the description for the TikTok profile, or YouTube. I'm messing up my words. YouTube, it's in the bottom right corner of your screen, isn't it? If you want to click that subscribe button, that'd be absolutely amazing. And the follows as well. Appreciate any follows. Even if you can't be arsed subscribing, just smash that like button. And yeah, make sure you check that tier list video out later because it's a very good edit. Very detailed in terms of individual players. We go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I think you'll enjoy it. So yeah, let us know your thoughts on that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a lovely day, everyone.